a graduate of Joliet Central High School, is a 2-year letter winner after transferring to USF prior to the start of his junior season. In his 2 seasons with the program, Jalen has played in 16 games, including 2 starts this season. Totaled a career-high 5 points against Trinity Christian in November. Ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Jones, his parents Robert and Tammy Jones, and his brother John Clark. Thomas Parada, and he is accompanied by Papa Joe. Thomas, a graduate of Sunrise Community High School in Florida, joined the Saints this season as a graduate transfer after earning his bachelor's degree in sports management from Florida State University. He has played in 14 games this season, totaling 19 points and 15 rebounds, while shooting 58% from the field. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Parada and Papa Joe. Ryan Peter and his parents Mark and Carrie Peter. Ryan, a graduate of Joliet Catholic Academy, is a 4-year letter winner who has played in 83 games as a Saint. This season, he has played in all 28 games, including 3 starts. He has career totals of 110 points, 98 rebounds, and 60 assists. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Peter, parents Mark and Carrie Peter. Hayden Witt and his parents Lisa and Ty Witt. Hayden, a graduate of Lincoln Way West High School, has played 2 seasons for the Saints after transferring to USF prior to the start of last season. This winter, he has played in all 28 games, including 5 starts, and set career highs with 12 points against Holy Cross and 11 rebounds at Trinity International. Hayden is averaging 3.9 points and 4 rebounds per game this season. Ladies and gentlemen, Hayden Witt, his parents Lisa and Todd Witt. And Ian Morrison and his sister Claire Morrison. St. Edmunds College in Canberra, Australia, is a 4-year letter winner who etched his name into the USF record books earlier this season by becoming one of the program's top 10 all-time scorers. A 2017 Honorable Mention All-American and second team All-CCAC selection. He has 1,277 points, 619 rebounds, and 135 blocks in his career. Ian has started every game for the Saints this season and ranks among the best in the CCAC in points, rebounds, shooting percentage, and blocks. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Morrison and his sister, Claire Morrison. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our 5 seniors, Jalen Jones, Thomas Parada, Ryan Peter, Hayden Witt, Ian Morrison, and their family members.
We just witnessed the Senior Day presentations here at the University of St. Francis, as it is the final game of the season for the Fighting Saints. Today they take on the St. Ambrose University Fighting Bees. We're still another 10 minutes or so away from opening tip. They got about 5 minutes of warm-ups coming up, so I'll step aside for now, but back very shortly with the tip-off for today's game, St. Francis and St. Ambrose on Senior Day at the Sullivan Center. Live inside the Sullivan Center, the campus of the University of St. Francis here in Joliet, Illinois. This is St. Francis basketball taking on St. Ambrose today in the season finale. It's senior day here at St. Francis, and as a result, all 5 seniors in the starting lineup. Terry Bonadonna along with you on the call for today's game as the Saints try to finish out this season strong. A somewhat disappointing season in many ways, but they would like to at least finish it with a win. They come in 10-18. 7-12 in conference. St. Ambrose 14-15, 8-11 in CCAC play this year. Starters once again for St. Ambrose. The guards are Dylan Kazmarek and Jake Mieske. The forwards Jalen Jones and Blake Bulls. John Kerr is the center for St. Francis. The guards are Ryan Peter and Jalen Jones. The forwards Thomas Parada and Hayden Witt. Ian Morrison is the big man, and he has won the tip back to starting guard senior Jalen Jones out of Joliet Central High School. Ryan Peter tries the 3 and knocks it down. There's a nice start for St. Francis. Ryan Peter hits the early 3-pointer. Like I said, nothing but seniors in the starting lineup today for St. Francis. Playing their final game of the year. They did not qualify this season for the CCAC tournament. Knocked out officially on Wednesday in a loss against Olivet Nazarene. Here's Jake Mieske on the drive. Step back jumper. Off the mark. Thomas Parada battles for the rebound and wins it. Parada ahead to Jalen Jones. Flip down to the left side. Ryan Peter. Now a 3-point attempt. Hayden Witt off the mark. Ball is loose and it goes out of bounds. Last touched by the shooter, Hayden Witt. 1 minute into the action here. 3 points for Ryan Peter. Have the Saints in the early lead. Saints go with a 1-3-1 zone defense here. Ian Morrison taps the ball away from John Kerr, but he's called for a foul on a bump from behind.
St. Francis foul number 42.
First foul of the game.
His first, team's first.
They'll inbound from the sideline. Blake Bulls, 6'5" senior forward, the only senior in the starting lineup for St. Ambrose. Here's Kazmarek pulling up at the free throw line, looking for help. He's got Jake Mieske. Bounced in the paint, back out to Jalen Jones. In the face of the Saints, Jalen Jones, he misses the 3. The rebound tipped out to Morrison, but he can't haul it in. A rare rebounding mistake for Morrison, and Dylan Kazmarek makes him pay, hitting the 3. Three our score. Saints nearly give it up in the backcourt. Thomas Parada not able to get it across. 10-second violation. So St. Ambrose's pressure defense causes some problems for St. Francis. It's a turnover. And the Bees have the ball, looking to take their first lead. John Kerr over to Jake Mieske. Inside Jalen Jones, knocked away by Morrison. Morrison comes up with the block, and Hayden Witt finally, after ball had ping-ponged around a little bit, comes down with the rebound. Parada tries a 3-pointer. Too strong. And the rebound goes to St. Ambrose. For Thomas Parada, that would have been the first 3-point of the year. He's 0 for 2 from there. Steal for Hayden Witt. Back and forth we go early in this game. Turnovers on both sides early on. Ryan Peter tries another 3. In and out. Morrison able to track down the offensive rebound. Jalen Jones into Morrison in the post. Turn around with the right hand, no. And rebounded this time by the Bees. 3-3, we're tied. Nearly 3 minutes into the game. Turnaround jumper, rooms out for John Kerr. Morrison again in the post. This time he throws it up with the left hand, a wild shot from Ian Morrison. He struggled with his shot to begin this one. Mieske fires inside. John Kerr wide open for the layup. And there's another turnover in the backcourt from St. Francis. Pressure defense continues to cause problems as Dylan Kazmarek streaks to the basket and lays it in. 7-0 run for St. Ambrose. Saints have gone 3 minutes without scoring. Got the 3-pointer from Peter on their first possession. The Saints just barely beat the 10-second clock that time. Parada misses on another three. Saints just 1 of 5 from three-point range to start today's game. This is Blake Bulls knocking down the jumper from the baseline. St. Francis came out fired up. High energy for that first minute, hit the three. A couple of nice defensive stops, but St. Ambrose is really turning things around on them early in this first half. 4 minutes in. Fighting Bees have scored the last 9 points. Thomas Parada inside to Ian Morrison. Morrison double teamed and called for the travel. St. Francis turns the ball over. St. Ambrose has scored the last 9 points. 3 turnovers now committed by the Saints in the game. And there's a perfect three-pointer from number 12, Jake Mieske. St. Ambrose has scored 12 consecutive points. They lead by 9, and Ryan Marks calls a 30-second timeout. These are not the usual starters for St. Francis. Well, we have seen a little bit of Jalen Jones and Hayden Witt, Ryan Peter in the lineup lately, but this is the first start of the year for Thomas Parada. And Ryan Marks is going to pull his regulars off the bench here. Antonio Hughes, Pietro Badalassi, Terrian Howard, Jordan Thornton. I think I saw all of them head over to the scorer's table to check in. So it's always nice on senior day when those seniors, especially the four-year players, get a little extra time on the court, get a chance to hear their name announced with the starting lineups, but you can only extend it as far as the team is staying competitive. And right now, Saints having trouble in that department. So Ian Morrison stays on the floor and the rest of the regular starters come in. St. Ambrose keeps their full court press on. Terrian Howard, Pietro Badalassi work to get it across half court, and they do. Here's Jordan Thornton trying the three-pointer. That one misses as well. Rebounded, though, by Ian Morrison. Back up and in, despite a hand coming in for the block. He was able to force it through anyway. St. Francis now just 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. But Morrison's got his first 2 points, and the scoring drought ends. It had been 4 minutes since their last basket. Also snaps the 12-0 run. Here's Dylan Kazmarek walking inside. No good, off the glass, but an offensive rebound. And they reset the shot clock. Ball never hit the rim on that shot, so they're going to have to get that sorted out. Let's see what they reset the clock to. It'll be at 12. 15:06 to play in the first half. And Jalen Jones will inbound. Into Dylan Kazmarek, right back to Jones in the post on Pietro Badalassi. Turn around, a miss, and a rebound to Morrison. Terrian Howard forces it ahead to Jordan Thornton. Howard back to Thornton. Good ball movement on this possession as Antonio Hughes takes it on the right side. There's Morrison backing in. Morrison forces it up and misses. Tip on the rebound goes to Johnny Kerr, and his pass is deflected out of bounds by Antonio Hughes. It'll stay with St. Ambrose. 14:39 to play first half. St. Ambrose 12, St. Francis 5. Fighting Bees basketball. Blake Bowles gets it inside. Jalen Jones against a couple of defenders, throws it off the back iron, no good. There's Jordan Thornton on the other end. Thornton races his way in, now kicks it out to Morrison. Terrian Howard drives, jump stop in the paint. Nice move by Terrian Howard. Free himself up for the 2. First 2 points for Howard, and the Saints are within 5. On the drive, Kerr hacked away by Jordan Thornton. Loose ball knocked out of bounds by St. Francis. And we got a timeout. 12-7, St. Ambrose leads St. Francis with 13:57 to play in the first half. I'll be back with more in a minute. Slow start on offense for St. Francis today. They trail 12-7 after 6 minutes of play. Just 3 of 11 from the field. But St. Ambrose only 5 of 13 overall, so Saints have kept it pretty close here. Ian Morrison just 1 of 4 shooting, but he does have 4 rebounds early on in today's game. St. Francis started their 5 seniors. They have 5 seniors on the roster: Jalen Jones, Thomas Parada, Ryan Peter, Hayden Witt, Ian Morrison. Of the 5, only Peter and Morrison have been with the program for all 4 years. But all 5 guys got to start today, all of them playing their final collegiate games. And Ryan Marks trying to make it a fun one for him. Garrett Jackson is in for Ian Morrison. So now, technically 5 reserves on the floor, but 4 of the 5 of them are regularly starters. St. Ambrose basketball, 9 on the shot clock. They brought in some substitutes as well. Lee Hardrick throws it over to Mieske. Now down low, Kerr in the post. Throws up over Pietro Badalassi and misses, but the rebound is knocked out of bounds by Kerr. St. Francis basketball. Michael Williams is in along with Hardrick for St. Ambrose. Coming out of that last timeout. Antonio Hughes to Terrion Howard. Howard streaks to the hoop, lays it up and misses, but he's fouled. Nice drive by Terrion Howard, going to the free throw line where he very rarely misses. 92% for the season. First shot is good for Howard. 56 of 62 from the line this year. He misses one here, a rare miss from the line for Howard. 4-point game, St. Ambrose basketball. Mieske over to Williams. Down low, it's Greg Wagner. Wagner gets it over to Kerr. Kerr misses the layup, gets his own rebound, back up and in. This is Jackson off to Hughes. And move it around the perimeter. Terrion Howard drives, dishes inside to Badalassi. High off the glass, no good. I don't know if that one actually hit the glass, but he threw it up high there. Now Kerr on the run out the other way, misses another layup. Rebounded by Badalassi. Here's Howard. Terrion Howard pull-up jumper, 2-point range, a little too strong. Rebounded by Kerr. St. Ambrose leads by 6, 12.5 minutes to go in the half. Williams inside to Kerr. Back out Michael Williams for 3 off the side of the backboard. And the rebound bounces right into the hands of Antonio Hughes. Hughes takes it to Mieske, misses on the layup. Offensive rebound, Jackson, he fakes once, up with the left hand, no good. Saints really struggling from the field right now. He missed 2 opportunities from underneath. Wagner backing in on Badalassi, tries to bank it in, but he comes up short. Both teams having some trouble shooting the basketball at the moment. Badalassi steps into a 3-pointer. He'll pass it off instead. For a moment he was open, but Williams closed the gap quickly enough. Thornton steps inside the perimeter and fires a 2-pointer. It's good. Jordan Thornton has his first 2 points. Saints have 10 points in the game, and 4 different players have scored. There's a steal. The pass went right through the hands of Lee Hardrick and was intercepted by Jordan Thornton. Hughes creates the contact and a defensive foul called on John Kerr. Longtime St. Ambrose coach Ray Chauvelin not happy with that call. Thought it should have gone against the offense, but Hughes is going to the free throw line for 2 shots. First foul on John Kerr, just the second on St. Ambrose. First free throw misses for Hughes, so the Saints just 1 of 3 from the line. Hughes just a 66% foul shooter. Misses his first one in today's game. You can make it a 1-score game here. And he does. St. Francis back to within 3. They led 3-0 before St. Ambrose went on a 12-0 run. Saints have done a nice job cutting back into it. Lee Hardrick and company break the press. Hughes jumps in front of the pass, nearly took it away from Warren Allen, but Allen's got it. Shovels it off to Wagner. Wagner is stripped. Pietro Badalassi has the steal. Off to Terry and Howard. Howard slows it down. Into the corner, Jordan Thornton for 3. Too strong. Rebound to Allen. Nice drive, Hardrick. He kicks it out. This is Alex Portwood stepping inside and knocking down the jumper from 15 feet. First 2 points of the game for the junior transfer from Lincoln Land Community College, Alex Portwood. Jordan Thornton with Terry and Howard. Right side now, Antonio Hughes. Badalassi looking underneath for Garrett Jackson. It was deflected out of bounds. And Ian Morrison checked back into the game for Jackson. 10.5 minutes to play in the half. St. Ambrose by 5. Thornton into Hughes. Terry and Howard mimics the 3, but passes it off instead. Howard, deep 3. Good with the shot clock running down. Terry and Howard drains a 3-pointer, and the Saints are within 2. And Howard comes up with a strip and a steal. Here's Terry and Howard. Into the corner for Hughes. Hughes tries the 3. That's good. Back-to-back 3-pointers for St. Francis. And they've got a 1-point lead. First lead since it was 3-0 to start the game. And another steal for Terry and Howard. Howard making a huge difference defensively right now. Badalassi to Morrison down low. Morrison lays it in. St. Francis on an 8-0 run here just within the last minute. And St. Ambrose slows it down. Portman back to Hardrick. Right side, Michael Williams. Bounce down low to Warren Allen. Allen double team, falling away, throws it up, and he's hit across the arm by Antonio Hughes. First foul on Hughes. It's only the second on the team. It is a shooting foul, though. Warren Allen at the line for a pair. First shot is good. That ends the 8-0 St. Francis run. We're only 10.5 minutes into the game. We've already seen a couple of good runs. 8-0 from St. Francis, and St. Ambrose went on a 12-0 run earlier in the half. Allen makes one of 2. Badalassi, right elbow extended. Thought about the shot, but he gives it up at the last second to Morrison. Out to Jordan Thornton for 3. It's good. Suddenly the Saints are hot from the outside. They had been just 1 of 7 on 3-pointers. They've made 3 in a row. Now shooting 40% for the game. There's a drive from Hardrick, a last-second dish, and a foul called on Hughes. Blake Bulls is going to the free throw line. Really nice pass from Hardrick to Bulls. And that foul is all Hughes could do to prevent the shot from going in. That's his second, though, and he may have to come out for a while. Ryan Peters back at the scorer's table. Blake Bulls' first shot rims out. Bulls is a 79% foul shooter. Free throws have been tough to knock down in this game. Both teams struggling a little bit. And he misses them both, but it's an offensive rebound. Out to Dylan Kazmarek. Bounce low to Bulls. Bulls back up from underneath this time. He scores. So he misses both free throws, and it turns into 2 points anyway. Terry and Howard lobs it over to Jordan Thornton. Pietro Badalassi in the post against the double team, backs it out. 10 seconds to shoot. It's Peter. Cross court, Thornton. Thornton, deep 3. Too hard. Badalassi, offensive rebound. He tries a 3. Way short this time. Rebounded by St. Ambrose. Warren Allen on the run. That's an offensive foul. Warren Allen absolutely out of control there. And Terrion Howard, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 130 pounds, was just bowled over by 6'5", 210-pound freshman Warren Allen. It's the first foul on Warren Allen. It's the team's third. Badalassi will grab a seat. Back into the game, Hayden Witt. Nice work by Terrion Howard taking that charge from a guy who's got more than a foot and nearly 80 pounds on him. Ryan Peter, cross court to Jordan Thornton. Peter, step back three. Got it. Second three of the game for Ryan Peter. The Saints are heating up from the outside. Something we have not seen a lot of over the course of this season. That's their 5th made three-pointer of the game. Portwood tries to answer. He misses his 3 attempt. Hayden Witt rebounds. Jordan Thornton jump pass to Witt. Now Terrion Howard backs it up again. Peter to Witt. Thornton lobs it up for Morrison, who can't make the grab. A little bit too high for him. St. Ambrose nearly threw it away, but Mieske was able to track it down. Portwood inside the Bulls. Outside Portwood for 3. Good this time. St. Ambrose back within 3. They've led by as many as 9, trailed by as many as 6. Thornton working around, looking inside for Witt. Didn't really have positioning there, but Warren Allen kicks the ball. It'll stay with St. Francis with 6:39 to play in the first half. We've got a timeout on the floor. St. Francis 25, St. Ambrose 22. Back in a minute. St. Francis leads by 3. They were down at one point 12-3, but they have come back nicely, outscoring St. Ambrose since that point, 22-10. 5 of 13 from beyond the arc, and that was after they started 1 for 7. They're 4 of their last 6, and they've made 4 of their 11 two-point attempts. They've really balanced the scoring pretty well, too. Ryan Peter, Terrion Howard each have 6 points, 5 for Jordan Thornton. Antonio Hughes and Ian Morrison have 4 apiece. St. Ambrose back on the floor following the timeout. 6:39 to play in the first half. Both of these teams trying to finish their season on a high note. Neither side will compete in the CCAC tournament next week. Both teams, in fact, were officially eliminated just this past Wednesday with losses. St. Francis to Olivet Nazarene and St. Ambrose to Trinity Christian. St. Francis to inbound from underneath St. Ambrose's basket. Thornton sends it into Jalen Jones in the corner. Jones back in there and being guarded by St. Ambrose's Jalen Jones. Against a double team, Ian Morrison throws it out to Ryan Peter. Jordan Thornton along the baseline bounces it for Morrison, but overshot him. It was deflected out of bounds. Still St. Francis ball, 7 to shoot. Thornton the trigger man here. There's Hayden Witt. Witt tries the 3. That's an air ball. Hayden Witt, not a big three-point shooter, but they seem to be falling for everybody today, so Hayden figured he'd give it a shot. He's now made 8 of 23 attempts for the season, a good percentage, but he attempts fewer than 1 per game. Bulls backing in on Witt. Throws it up, comes up short. Battle for the rebound. We've got a foul called, a loose ball foul on Witt. His first and the team's 4th. Check that. Fouls on Ian Morrison. That's his second. And the team's fourth. And Garrett Jackson will check in for Morrison. They've only committed 4 fouls total, but they've got 2 guys on the bench in foul trouble. Morrison and Antonio Hughes each have 2. Jake Mieske drives on Jalen Jones, gets to the hoop, and draws another foul. So there's the 5th foul on St. Francis. That one will go on neither Hughes nor Morrison. It's on Hayden Witt. And this time it is Witt's first. First free throw misses from Mieske. Free throw shooting has not exactly been a clinic today. St. Ambrose is 1 for 5. St. Francis 2 for 4. Second free throw does fall for Mieske, sophomore from East Moline, Illinois. Ryan Peter throws it away. Picked off by Blake Bowles. And Bowles forces it ahead to Jake Mieske. Mieske picks up his dribble, bounces low for John Kerr. Kerr couldn't hold on to it, but Jalen Jones there to back him up. Kerr, nice pass that time to Bowles. Blocked from behind by Witt, but there's Jalen Jones with the follow. And we're tied. 25 all. Late in the first half, just over 5 minutes to play. Peter trying to find Jordan Thornton, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Dylan Kazmarek. Kazmarek spins into the paint, loses the ball. Picked up by Kerr. John Kerr with a nice fake. Gets 2 guys up in the air and has an easy layup. First lead for St. Ambrose since it was 16-14. Garrett Jackson trying to bounce it inside for Witt. Intercepted again. Kazmarek. Now Bowles. Bowles over Witt. Scores again. Tarian Howard, Antonio Hughes sitting at the scorer's table getting set to check back in. Been a different game with Tarian Howard in today. He's been primary difference maker for St. Francis. They built a good lead while he was out there. Ryan Marks gave him a rest, and things haven't gone as well since as Garrett Jackson misses the jumper from the left elbow. And it's rebounded by St. Ambrose. Kazmarek can't corral that pass off his chest and out of bounds. Substitutions for both sides. Howard, Hughes, and Morrison coming back in for St. Francis. Hardrick and Wagner into the game for St. Ambrose. Saints down by 4 here. 7-0 run for St. Ambrose since that last time out. Hughes has it stripped. Taken away by Mieske. Jake Mieske against a pair of defenders. Still connects on the layup. Gutsy move by Jake Mieske. Taking into the defense there. It looked like he'd be better served to just pull it out. Set up the half-court offense, but it works out for 2 points. Hayden Witt out to Ryan Peter, looking for his 3rd three-pointer. This one misses too strong. Hardrick passes to his left. Mieske. This is Jones. Mieske for 3. Good. St. Ambrose on fire right now. It's 12 consecutive points. Their second 12-0 run of the game. And they lead by 9. This matches their biggest lead of the game. They also are up by 9 after their last 12-0 run. And Hayden Witt's pass is deflected, but Howard there to chase down the loose ball. Nice hustle by Tarian Howard. Ryan Peter, open look for 3. No good. Rebounded by Witt and knocked out of his hands. Nice play by Wagner to take possession for St. Ambrose. Nine-point lead for St. Ambrose with the ball. Jalen Jones gets it over to John Wagner. Wagner, turnaround jumper misses, but there's Jones on the tip. That's the second time in the last couple of minutes that Jalen Jones has gotten a second chance bucket for St. Ambrose. He's got 4 points, and St. Francis calls a 30-second timeout. 2:21 to play in the first half. It's 36-25. The Fighting Bees lead the Fighting Saints. Second meeting between these two teams this year. St. Ambrose won the first one back on December 16th in Davenport, Iowa, home of the university. 83-70 was the score of that game. St. Francis, oddly enough, has played much better on the road this year than at home. 5-7 in road games, just 4-10 in this building this year. They were hoping for the old reversal against St. Ambrose, who beat them at St. Ambrose. The Saints were trying for a home win. They still are. They were up a few minutes ago, but a 12-0 run for the Fighting Bees has turned things around considerably here. Terrion Howard taking the ball down the floor along with Thomas Parada back in the game. Three-point attempt for Antonio Hughes is good. And that snaps what had stretched all the way into a 17-0 run, turning a 6-point St. Francis lead into an 11-point St. Ambrose lead. It's back down to 8 after the three. Saints have shot the three ball well today, for the most part. Here's Hardrick into the corner. Three-point attempt for St. Ambrose, and that one is good. That's Tyler Hilby. Just off the bench during the timeout, Hilby connects on his first shot of the game. And Hilby is a player who does not make many threes. That was just his 5th of the year in 23 attempts. And now a response from Antonio Hughes as he hits another one from outside. 10 points in the first half for Antonio Hughes off the bench. Jalen Jones working against Hughes. Uses his back to create some space and banks it in. Suddenly it's becoming a shootout here. 41-31. A minute to play in the half. Hughes to Peter. Now Morrison, he's been quiet today. Morrison lobs it for Parada, knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. Only 4 points for Ian Morrison. The Saints would like to get him more involved to try to erase this deficit. Morrison this season averages over 16 points per game. Inbounded to Terrion Howard. 10 on the shot clock. It's Morrison at the elbow. Back to Howard. Fakes the three, steps inside. Long two-point jumper is good. And there's a steal for Hughes. To Howard. Howard tries for three. Can't get this one. It would have been 5 points in short order for Terrion Howard. But he comes up a little bit short. Difference between the shot and game clock right now, negligible. About 0.2 of a second. So St. Ambrose will hold on for the final shot. Jake Mieske walks it to the left. Bounce to Jalen Jones. Jones' pass nearly intercepted. Wagner at the buzzer hits it. And that is the end of the first half. A good ending for St. Ambrose. They went on a 17-0 run at one point to turn a 6-point deficit into an 11-point lead. St. Francis fought back. They got it back to single digits, but the jumper at the buzzer from John Wagner makes it a 10-point game at the break. 43-33, St. Ambrose leads. It's the final game of the season for St. Francis, trying to go out on a high note. And they'll be back out there in another 15 minutes with second half action. For right now, I'll step aside. Saints down by 10 at the break. Back at the University of St. Francis, it's halftime. Saints trail the St. Ambrose Fighting Bees 43-33. It was an interesting first half, a half of many runs. At one point early in the half, St. Ambrose went on a 12-0 run to take a big lead. St. Francis fought back. They, at one point, were up by 6, 25-19, after having trailed 12-3 early on. And then later in the half, St. Ambrose scored 17 consecutive points, and they've got a 10-point lead at the break, 43-33. St. Ambrose has shot the ball extremely well, 51% overall, 63% on three-pointers. The only place they haven't shot well from is the free throw line. They're just 2 of 6. As for St. Francis, they're at just 38% from the field, but a much better than usual 37% on three-pointers. They're 7 of 19 from 3. They are 5 of 13 on two-point shots. Their regular star, Ian Morrison, hasn't really gotten going, just 4 points. He does have 2 assists and 4 rebounds. Antonio Hughes has led the way with 10 points. For St. Ambrose, Jake Mieske leads the charge with 9 points. John Kerr has got 7 rebounds. Some of the biggest keys, I thought, from the first half: points in the paint. St. Ambrose outscoring St. Francis 18-6 and 12-2 on second chance points, thanks to 8 offensive rebounds. That just shows the way they've been able to neutralize Ian Morrison. And points off turnovers has been interesting as well. Both teams have turned the ball over 8 times, but St. Ambrose has been able to turn it into 7 more points off of turnovers, 16-9. Hayden Witt knocks that pass out of bounds. St. Ambrose, who just inbounded the ball to start the half, will inbound it again from the opposite side of the floor. Starters back in for St. Francis. That means all 5 seniors: Jalen Jones, Thomas Parada, Hayden Witt, Ryan Peter, along with Ian Morrison. This is Blake Bowles backing in and passing out to Mieske. Jake Mieske, pull-up jumper over the outstretched arm of Parada. It's no good. So here comes Jalen Jones down the other way. Hayden Witt at the top. Jones splits a couple of defenders, kicks it out into the corner. Thomas Parada, open 3. It's short. Offensive rebound, Morrison, his 5th rebound of the game, and he's fouled. Morrison had 4 rebounds after just about 8 minutes of game action. That was his first one since. The foul is called on St. Ambrose's Jalen Jones. They each have a player named Jalen Jones, although it's spelled differently. St. Francis's is Jailen, and he's the one who just had his pass deflected and stolen. Ahead for Dylan Kazmarek. He's fouled by Ryan Peter. St. Ambrose's Jalen Jones is Jalen with no I. Not that that's going to make things any easier for you. First foul on Ryan Peter. It's the first on the team. 19:13 to play. Dylan Kazmarek has 2 free throws. First one is good. Just 3 of 7 from the line today. St. Ambrose as a team, not Kazmarek as an individual. This is Kazmarek's first trip to the line. And he makes them both. 12-point lead for the Bees. That's their biggest. Hayden Witt trying to get it across half court. St. Ambrose forced a couple of turnovers with the press in the first half, including one 10-second violation. Not this time, though. Jones gets it to Morrison. High post. Morrison looking down low. Instead, he gets it to Jones, who bounces to Witt, off of Witt's hands, and taken away. John Kerr came away with the steal there. Jalen Jones for 3. It's good. St. Ambrose has the first 5 points of the second half. They're on a 7-0 run overall. Greg Wagner hit a buzzer-beating jumper at the end of the first half. Made a difference. An 8-point halftime deficit is a lot less daunting than 10 points. Hayden Witt makes the turnaround jumper. Saints are on the board for the first time since intermission. Jones steps into another 3-pointer. This time it's short. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Thomas Parada. St. Ambrose basketball. Kazmarek set to inbound. He lobs it into Jones. Blake Bowles working on Morrison. A little bit short. And it's knocked out of bounds by Kerr. 17:56 to play in the game. Here comes Terrian Howard off the bench. Jalen Jones will grab a seat. Jordan Thornton comes in as well for Thomas Parada. Terrian Howard walks it to the left side. Up to Thornton. Morrison fires down low to Hayden Witt. Bounce back out to Howard. Thornton, open three, short. Hayden Witt battles for the rebound. Nice work by Hayden Witt. He puts it back up and in. Deficit is single digits once again, 48-37. There's a three attempt, perfect for John Kerr. Kerr's first three-pointer of the game. He's got 9 points in total. They have really shot the ball well from the outside today. That's hurting St. Francis. Saints have shot better than usual from three-point range, but have not been able to keep up with St. Ambrose's blistering pace. Ryan Peter tries a three and knocks it down. Ryan Peters made 3 three-pointers in the game. Entering play today, Peter had hit 16 threes on the year. A runner good that time for Blake Bowles. He's got 8. Witt across the timeline. Drives, lays it up and in. Great work by Hayden Witt going all the way from the half-court line to the hoop. So at least St. Francis keeping pace with St. Ambrose. Every time the Bees have scored lately, the Saints have answered. See if they can come up with a few big stops now, though. Kerr tries the jumper and hits it. 11 points for John Kerr. Howard lines it over to Ryan Peter. Terrian Howard to Thornton. Ten on the shot clock. It's Peter bouncing into the corner for Witt. Witt fakes the three, steps in, jumper, short. And a loose ball foul called on Jordan Thornton. 15:39 to go in the game. 13-point lead for St. Ambrose.
Foul called on the Saints number 3, Jordan Thornton.
Pietro Badalassi played only 7 minutes in the first half. He's out there now. Peter, Thornton, Howard, Morrison, and Badalassi on the floor. Foul on Thornton was his first. Morrison and Hughes the only ones with 2 right now. This is Miski. Firing to his left, and Kerr. Now Kazmarek open in the corner. Drills the three. St. Ambrose is 8 for 12 on three-pointers. 67%. Peter tries another one. In and out. Badalassi going for the rebound, and he is bumped. A foul called on St. Ambrose.
Foul called on number 10, Dylan Kazmarek.
First foul on Dylan Kazmarek. Both teams sitting at 2 fouls for the half now. Exactly 5 minutes in. 16-point deficit for St. Francis is their largest. Jalen Jones comes away with the steal on the inbounds play. Ambrose trying to extend the lead. This is Kerr. Blocked by Morrison, but a foul is called, and if that is on Morrison, it's his third. They get it on Badalassi instead, his first.
20, Pietro Badalassi, his first, team's third.
First free throw misses from John Kerr. Antonio Hughes comes in for Ryan Peter. Kerr is a 77% foul shooter, but Bees just haven't had a lot of success from the line tonight. 4 of 9 as a team. That's the one area offensively that they've struggled in this game, because they're knocking down everything from everywhere else. 17-point game. 6 straight points for St. Ambrose. Antonio Hughes has 10 points to lead the Saints. He's been on the bench for a while, just back in. Here's Morrison, good positioning down low, but can't get the roll. Morrison struggling with his shot today. Jones to Wagner. Jumper from the paint is good. St. Ambrose is hitting everything. Shooting well over 50% for the game, 24 for 44. Thornton in the corner, back out to Howard. Morrison to Thornton, driving the baseline. Thornton gives it up to Morrison. Morrison up with 2 hands and throws it down. Good to see Ian Morrison get back on the board. 7 points for the senior in his final collegiate game. And an emphatic 2 right there. Wagner in the post on Badalassi. Working hard, gets the shot up, but can't get it to go. Kerr chases down the rebound. Fresh 30 seconds for St. Ambrose. Jake Niski pulls it out. Niski over to Wagner for 3. Wagner comes up short on the 3. Another offensive rebound. Kerr from the free throw line misses. So they've been making pretty much everything, it seems, all game, and now 3 misses on 1 possession. Jones knocks the ball away from Thornton, but Badalassi is able to work it across half court. Pietro Badalassi taking it in on his own, lays it in. Nice drive, Pietro Badalassi. Saints within 15. Looking for another stop here. This is Jones. Kerr is bumped by Badalassi. That should be on the floor, and it will be. But we're going to get a timeout first. 12:47 to go. Second half, St. Ambrose 61. St. Francis 46. Last game of the year. We'll be back in just a minute. Just under 13 minutes to play in the game, 61-46. St. Ambrose leads St. Francis. Saints shooting 42% from the field today, St. Ambrose 51%. Big difference is the three-point shooting. Bees are at 62% on threes. That's a tough stat to overcome. But they've gotten a lot of good looks. Saints trying to tighten things up on defense. It is Fighting Bees basketball, 20 on the shot clock, ball underneath. Jalen Jones inbounds it to John Kerr. Wagner to Hardrick. Portwood swings it back around to Jones. Drive from John Kerr. Contact and offensive foul. Pietro Badalassi stood in there and took the charge from John Kerr. Just the first foul on Kerr. It's only the 4th foul in the game on St. Ambrose in the first of the half. And 7.5 minutes to get there. Antonio Hughes down in the corner, bounces to Ian Morrison. Morrison double team, out to Howard. Now Thornton for 3. It's good. Jordan Thornton hits from the outside for the second time today. He's got 8 points. Saints trying to make a game of it, down by 12. Hardrick, 2-on-1, bounces to Portwood, an easy layup. Saints tried a little full court press, and St. Ambrose beat it easily. Howard bounces low for Morrison, but the pass was tipped and stolen by Portwood. Ahead for Kerr. Kerr blocked by the rim. Hardrick comes away with the loose ball, though. So St. Ambrose will get a fresh possession here. This is Kerr. Fadeaway jumper comes up short. Rebound chased down by Antonio Hughes. Hughes on the run, and he is contacted by Jalen Jones. Foul's going to be called on Jones here.
Foul called on number 14, Jalen Jones, his second.
It's the second foul on the Bees' Jalen Jones. He'll check out. Michael Williams is in, as is Warren Allen. Jordan Thornton set to inbound. Terry and Howard. Howard into the corner for Thornton. Terry and Howard steps into a three-pointer and hits it. Three-pointer for Terry and Howard. Timeout called by St. Francis. That's 11 points for Howard, and that moves him ahead of Antonio Hughes for a team lead today. Terry and Howard, a 10-point-per-game scorer. He's one of three double-digit scorers on St. Francis' team. Jordan Thornton averages about 13.5 points per game. And Ian Morrison leads the way at 16. Morrison's only got 7, make that 6 so far in this one. Morrison entered play today, his final game with the University of St. Francis, 9th on the school's all-time scoring list. Needed about 60-plus points in order to move into number 8. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. You never know, though. Maybe we get a few overtimes. Next on the list is actually Venus Presniakovis, who's currently an assistant coach on the St. Francis bench. 63-52, St. Ambrose leads. They've led by as many as 19. That was just a few moments ago. St. Francis was up by as many as 6 points in the first half when they got out to a hot start. Actually, I shouldn't say a hot start. It took them a few minutes to get going. They were down 12-3, and then they got hot. They went on a 22-7 run before the wheels fell off a little bit, and they've been battling to get back into it ever since. Blake Bowles will inbound. He's got Williams, Allen, Portwood, and Hardrick on the floor with him. The Saints put on the full court press. Badalassi, Hughes, Howard, Thornton, and Morrison out there for St. Francis, but beaten on that press. They're able to get back on defense as we move into a half-court game. Warren Allen, pass knocked out of his hands. No, it wasn't knocked. He just threw it away, out of bounds. I thought that Hughes had deflected that out, but just a bad throw. So it's a big turnover. St. Francis needs to force a few more of those. That's why they went to the press. They have forced 10 turnovers in the game, but they've committed 12 of them. Terry and Howard. Tosses off to Hughes, right back to Howard. Fakes the three. Now he steps in, kicks it out to Thornton. Baseline, Ian Morrison immediately double team. Morrison dribbles out of the double team and passes to Thornton. 9 seconds to shoot. Long three, Jordan Thornton. Long miss. Rebounded by Lee Hardrick. Hardrick lobs it ahead for Blake Bowles, who pulls it back. Now cutting Warren Allen, blocked from behind by Morrison, but a foul call. That's number 3 on Ian Morrison.
St. Francis foul number 42, Ian Morrison. That is his 3rd, team's 5th.
5th team foul. 10.5 minutes to play in the game. St. Ambrose has got 2 free throws here. Warren Allen makes the first. Second shot up and in. So the Bees are starting to turn around that free throw shooting problem that they've had. They were 2 of 6 at halftime. But ever since then, they've gone 5 of 6. Antonio Hughes drives and throws it away, looking underneath for Pietro Badalassi. Couldn't find him. Badalassi raises his hand to indicate that Hughes, it was his fault, should have made the catch. Wasn't able to pull it in. Allen across the timeline. Now Allen in the post on Morrison. Morrison swats it away. The ball is loose, and Allen's able to chase it down. They call it over and back. I thought Morrison and Howard had combined to knock that ball back, but the official said that it was Allen. The ball was initially knocked away from him, but Allen got to it before reaching the half-court line, and he's the one who hit it back further, apparently. So it's a turnover. Saints looking to turn it into points. They've had trouble converting off of turnovers in today's game. Hardrick deflects that pass out of bounds. They forced a fair number of them, 11 in the first 30 minutes of the game. I haven't been able to do as much with those turnovers as St. Ambrose has. I should say St. Ambrose has done a lot with the turnovers they've forced, more than the fact that St. Francis hasn't done enough. There's a nice runner from Jordan Thornton. Good drive. It's an 11-point game and another steal. Ian Morrison takes it away. Saints can cut the deficit to single digits on this possession. Howard to Morrison. Back out Terrion Howard. Open three. It's good. It's just an 8-point game here. 65-57. Saints on a bit of a run. Under 9 minutes to play in the game. A couple of the starters hop off the St. Ambrose bench, set to check back in. Here's a drive. Layup misses from Blake Bowles. Morrison comes down with it, tries to fling it down the court to Thornton, but Portwood is there for the interception. Three-pointer for Hardrick is good. Ill-advised pass from Ian Morrison, and it sets up a chain of events that leads to an easy three for Lee Hardrick, if such a thing can be said to exist. That's a big blow to the Saints. Battleassey kicks it out to Thornton for three. It's good. Boy, the Saints are shooting well from the outside today. It's really keeping them in this game. Here's Hardrick. Firing inside, deflected away by Hughes. He saves it to Howard, but stepped on the line as he tried to keep that ball in. Valiant effort from Antonio Hughes, but it'll stay with St. Ambrose. 22 seconds on the shot clock. Hayden Witt, Ryan Peter are in for the Saints. Battleassey and Thornton sit down. Kazmarek, Miski, both back in for St. Ambrose. Blake Bowles drives and kicks. Shot clock at 16. It's Hardrick on the leaner. No good. Rebounded by Hayden Witt. Terrion Howard flying down the floor. Howard all the way to the hoop, lays it in. It's a two-score game, 68-62. Saints keeping it close here as we enter the latter stages of the game. Timeout called by St. Ambrose. Ray Shavlin wants to talk things over. It's a full timeout as the lead, which was once 19, is down to 6. 68-62, 16 points now for Terrion Howard. He has really shown up in full force today. Didn't get the start because of senior day. All of the seniors got to spend some time on the floor in the starting lineup. Thomas Parada, Jalen Jones, both out there early. We haven't seen either one of them in a little while. Neither of them have been able to hit the scoreboard today. Hayden Witt, Ryan Peter have been sticking around, coming off the bench from time to time. Ian Morrison's played pretty much the whole game. He's been on the floor for the whole second half. Hasn't met his season averages, certainly in scoring, but he's had an all right game. 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. The latter two categories both lead the team. Terrion Howard leads the way in scoring at 16 points. Jordan Thornton, 13. Antonio Hughes, 10. Those three guys have put up their 39 points with some big shooting numbers. They've gone a combined 14 for 22 from the field, all of them at 50% or better. The rest of the team is just 10 of 28. So they're looking for a little help somewhere. Let's see if they can find it going forward with 7:25 to play. It's St. Ambrose basketball. Inbound to Lee Hardrick. Guarded outside by Hayden Witt. St. Ambrose moving the ball around the outside. Shot clock at 10. It's Hardrick trying a long three in the face of Hayden Witt. An air ball and out of bounds. Another big stop for the Saints. And Ray Chauvelin not at all happy with that one. He just threw his hands up. Coming out of a timeout, they did not get a good shot off on that possession. Chauvelin in his 35th season at St. Ambrose University. That pass inside for Ian Morrison, deflected off his hands and taken away, and Morrison called for a foul wrapping up John Kerr. Not a good foul by Morrison there. He's already got 3. You can understand to some extent the aggressiveness with which he went on after the ball there, but not a smart play with 3 fouls. He's going to stay in the game with 4. Again, he's been out there the entire second half so far. Jalen Jones on the right side. Swung around to the left. This is Miski. He finds Kerr at the foul line. Kicked out Kazmarek for 3. Off the mark. Rebound, foul. Terrion Howard was going up for it. Blake Bowles called for the foul. Bowles isn't happy. He was going straight for the ball, but Howard was in good position. And Bowles kind of ran into him. Howard, again, just 5 feet 4 inches tall, so he can sneak up on you a little bit. Three-pointer here would make it a one-possession game. It's not necessarily on St. Francis's mind. They want points anywhere they could get them. Doesn't have to be a 3. Antonio Hughes drives, stops in the lane, blocked by Miski. And Miski carries it the other way. Bounced underneath to Kerr. Kerr in an awkward position. Can't make the reverse layup. Rebound to Hayden Witt. Here comes Terrion Howard out to Ryan Peter for 3. Got it. Ryan Peter makes it a one-score game. 68-65, and that's Peter's 4th three-pointer of the day. 4th double-figure scorer. And there's a foul called on St. Francis. Antonio Hughes came in to slap the ball away, but apparently got some of the arm as well. So that's the 3rd foul on Hughes, and it puts the Bees in the bonus. The 7th foul. 1-1 coming up here. Thornton comes in for Hughes. First foul shot is good for Kazmarek. He gets 1 more. 11 points for Dylan Kazmarek. Just a freshman at Downers Grove South High School. He misses the 2nd free throw, but it's an offensive rebound. Goes right into the hands of Blake Bowles. Kerr inside to the cutting Miski. Miski over Howard and in. Turns into a 3-point possession. 1 point for Kazmarek and 2 for Miski. And the lead for St. Ambrose is back to 6. It's been as many as 19. Saints had it down to 3 just a minute ago. Here comes Howard, shoveling it off to Morrison. He goes up, scores, and draws the foul. Nice find by Howard, and Morrison's got a shot at a 3-point play. And now he's nearing double figures scoring-wise as well. He will be the 5th player to make it. Makes the free throw for his 9th point. That's a 3-point game again. Here's Miski down the sideline. Miski on Howard. Step back jumper. Comes up short. Ryan Peter finds the rebound. Terrion Howard gives it off to Thornton. Back to Peter. Trying another 3. 5th of the game for Ryan Peter, and we're tied at 71. First time this game's been tied since 25-25. And Ryan Peter has made 5 3-pointers in the game. He had just 16 all year coming in. Kerr misses on the runner. Battle for the loose ball. What have we got here? I think it's going to be a tie-up. Possession arrow faces St. Francis. 4.5 minutes to play in the game. It'll be St. Francis's ball with a chance to take their first lead since 25-22. They did lead for a while early in this game, but St. Ambrose got hot, built up a 19-point lead. They were up by 10 at halftime. But St. Ambrose has gone cold shooting. St. Francis has gotten hot. Saints now shooting 50% from the field and 47% on three-pointers. This is a 29% three-point shooting team for the year. And they're at 47% today. They picked a good time to get hot. They're in their final game of the year, trying to go out on a high note. Morrison to Howard. Aaron Howard drives, lays it up. No, there's Morrison with the rebound. Back up and a foul call. Ian Morrison's going to the line to try to take the lead. Foul is called on Blake Bowles. It's his second. It's the 7th on the team. So both squads are in the bonus now. First shot is good for Ian Morrison. That's 10 points for him, so he is the 5th player on the Saints in double figures in scoring. They've really balanced the scoring nicely in this one. Morrison's got them both. 73-71. Saints lead. They'll keep the press on. Here's Jalen Jones. Passing it out and getting it out of harm's way. Now down the floor. Kazmarek wants to run. His layup misses. And the rebound goes to Hayden Witt. Terrion Howard thought about the three. Instead, he gives it up to Thornton. Thornton kicks it out to Peter. Again, Ryan Peter. Just off this time. Offensive rebound, Morrison. Morrison throws it up off the glass. No. And the rebound goes to John Kerr. Saints bench furious. There's no foul called there. St. Ambrose possession, down by 2. They've gone ice cold from the field. Shooting percentage down under 50. It's been above that 50% mark pretty much the whole game. But no longer. There's Kerr spinning his way to the basket and missing. Rebound to Morrison. 21-point turnaround here. St. Francis was down at 1 point by 19 just 11 minutes ago in game action. Morrison in the post. Working on Bulls. Morrison gets to the hoop and lays it in. Nice post move. Ian Morrison spinning around and getting right to the basket. Jalen Jones to John Kerr, out to Lee Hardrick. Hardrick steps inside the three-point line, misses badly on a jumper. And Terrion Howard's there to pull in the rebound. 2.5 minutes left, and the Saints are trying to pull away a little bit. Create some distance in a game that they have been down by double digits for much of the second half. Morrison in the post. Can't get any room, and he throws it out to Peter. Shot clock at 7. Thornton, step back 3. No. Rebounded by Kazmarek. Final 2 minutes here. It's Hardrick down to the corner. Out to Kerr. Kerr drives, blocked by Morrison, but a foul called, and that's the 5th on Ian Morrison. Not thrilled with that call, but he will depart. And Morrison's going to get a good hand from his teammates as they greet him on the bench, because he has fouled out of his final game as a member of the University of St. Francis. The Saints will not participate in this year's postseason. So this final regular season game means this is it. Morrison, the 9th leading scorer in St. Francis history, an All-American a year ago, All-CCAC, second team. And he figures to be in the running for All-Conference again this year. 16.7 rebounds per game this year. Morrison finishes today with 13 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And he checks out with his 5th foul. On the floor, it's John Kerr trying to tighten up a very tight game. already tight, and he's trying to tighten it up further. 3-point game now as he makes the first free throw. Second shot is good. Garrett Jackson checked in for Morrison. Pietro Badalassi in the game as well, as Hayden Witt gets a rest. 2-point game with under 2 minutes to play. Peter hands it off to Howard. Jackson hands it off to Jordan Thornton. Thornton around the screen, tries the jumper. Can't get the roll from the back iron. St. Ambrose takes over. They can tie or take the lead here. Hardrick passes to his right. Kazmarek. Wagner from just inside the three-point arc. Air ball, but Hardrick underneath for the rebound. And we're tied at 75. We got a whistle. What's the call here? I'm not entirely sure. St. Francis basketball with 70 seconds to play. St. Ambrose has committed 7 team fouls, so foul on the floor would give the Saints a 1-and-1. Tarian Howard out to Pietro Badalassi. Ryan Peter lobs it down low for Garrett Jackson. Back to Peter. Peter's made 5 3-pointers today, trying from 2-point range this time. Just off, and the rebound goes to St. Ambrose. They can reclaim the lead on this possession, and they'll call a timeout first. 75-75, 43 seconds to play in regulation. St. Ambrose basketball, and they'll talk things over. As the Saints try to get out of here with a win, St. Ambrose trying to do the same thing. We talked about this very thing with Ryan Marks during the postgame on Wednesday after the loss to Olivet. Knocked St. Francis out of contention for the CCAC tournament. Trying to look at the bright side. Coach Marks said that most teams end up finishing the season with a loss, whether in the national tournament or the conference tournament or just in the regular season, as will be the case with one of these two teams today. So you try to find a bright spot in not playing in the postseason, and certainly one of those potential bright spots is you could go out on a high note. Because you go to the postseason and everyone but one team is going to finish the year with a loss. St. Francis try to wrap this thing up with a win and have something to build on going forward. It's been a weird season for the Saints. A lot of transfers came in, a lot of fresh faces, really only among regular players, Jordan Thornton and Ian Morrison, the only 2 players back from last year. Hayden Witt, Ryan Peter as well. But most of these guys are new to the program this year. A lot of transfers coming in, and took a while for them to find any rhythm. Early on this year, they certainly showed flashes of playing well, but just didn't do it consistently. They're trying to pull it all together here for the final game. They were down by 19. They have come back to tie the score with under a minute to play. St. Ambrose trying to take the lead back. Nearly thrown away, but Kazmarek on the back end there. 11 seconds on the shot clock. This is Kazmarek driving to the left side. Kazmarek steps back, throws it for Kerr, who's fouled from behind by Ryan Peter. And he's going to the free throw line with 25 seconds to play in the game. One free throw would give them the lead. It's a 1-and-1 though. So if he misses the first, St. Francis can take over. Jordan Thornton in for offense. Antonio Hughes, the defensive specialist in this case, departs. Not only did the Saints erase the 19-point deficit, they actually took a 4-point lead. St. Ambrose has scored the last 4, make it 5 points. We've got our 5th lead change of the game. Kerr hits them both. 77-75. 22 seconds on the clock. Here's Tarian Howard. And a timeout. I don't know what you do here. The go-to guy typically would be Ian Morrison. Certainly you'd look to get the ball inside to him, even if to set up another shooter. Morrison has fouled out. He finished the day with 13 points. Departing with 2 minutes to go in the game. The Saints have not scored since Morrison left. Terrion Howard has shot the ball extremely well today. So he's certainly a prime option here, 6 of 9 from the field. Jordan Thornton's had a good game with 13 points, but he's been cold over the last several minutes. Ryan Peter's been one of the stars of the game. He's hit 5 3-pointers. He's 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. He missed his only 2-point attempt just a few moments ago. So because a lot of guys have shot the ball well today for the Fighting Saints, there are a fair number of options, but it's been a tough couple of minutes for them as they've missed their last several attempts. Just looking for one big shot here to tie the score or take the lead. 20 seconds left, so they'll try to, you would think, make a run for something within the first 5 or 6 seconds. That way, if they're not able to get anything to go, they either have a chance at an offensive rebound to set something else up, or they can make the quick foul and still keep themselves in the game. Pietro Badalassi, another good option, 10-point per game scorer, but he's been quiet today, just 2 points in limited minutes, with the seniors getting a little extra playing time. Here's Terrion Howard, over to Badalassi. Clock is down to 14 seconds. Jordan Thornton from the right side, drives, gets inside. Thornton is met at the basket by Blake Bowles and fouled, and Jordan Thornton's going to the free throw line.
Foul called on number 22, Blake Bowles. That's his third, team's 8th.
So Thornton at the line for 2 shots. He needs to make them both to tie the score. And he makes the first. Not a great free throw shooter. Thornton at 67% this year. This is one of the bigger attempts of the year for him. To tie the score. He's got it. With the front iron and rolled in. 77 all. Antonio Hughes back in for defense. Saints will back off a little bit rather than put on the full court press. They'll play for overtime. Blake Bowles departs. Jake Mieske, who we haven't seen much of in the second half, is back in. 9.7 seconds on the clock. Lee Hardrick takes it across half court. Clock at 5. Hardrick to the cutting Kerr. Kerr lays it up. Does not get the roll. There's the tip. It misses. Jackson comes down with a rebound. And we're headed to overtime. Good look for John Kerr. He had an open layup and just could not get it to fall. The tip came close, but that missed as well. 77-77. St. Francis has overcome a 19-point deficit to force overtime, and we'll have that for you in just a minute. Last game of the year. Nobody too keen on seeing it end. We're headed to overtime, tied at 77 in the season's final game. St. Francis and St. Ambrose battling back and forth in this one. St. Francis was victorious in an overtime game on January 31st here against Cardinal Stritch. That was a weird one, in which they scored 17 overtime points, all of them from the free throw line. Their free throw shooting was key today down the stretch. In the final seconds, Jordan Thornton made 2. to send this thing to overtime as Hayden Witt wins the tip for the Fighting Saints. 7 of 9 from the line overall today for St. Francis, but St. Ambrose did have a chance to win it after the 2 made free throws from Thornton. There's Terrian Howard streaking to the hoop, but missing the layup. John Kerr had an open layup to end the game, but missed it. And so here we are in overtime. Lobbed inside Jalen Jones, who finishes the alley-oop, laying it in. St. Ambrose back on top. They've led the majority of the way by double digits for most of the second half, but the Saints got hot from the outside. And were able to come back, take a 4-point lead at one point as Jordan Thornton misses the runner. Rebound knocked out of bounds by the Saints. They went up 75-71, but weren't able to make another field goal as St. Ambrose went on a 6-0 run. Saints tied it up to send it to overtime on those 2 aforementioned free throws. Ian Morrison is out, Saints' leading scorer this season. Fouled out with 2 minutes to play in regulation. There's a steal. Hughes got his hands on it. Badalassi picks up the loose ball. Saints are going small here with Garrett Jackson sitting down. Typically either he or Morrison will be in the game, but again, Morrison's fouled out. Badalassi passes to the cutting Jordan Thornton. The pass just a little bit too far out in front of him, and Thornton can't pull it in. Saints look out of sorts offensively to start the overtime period. 5 minutes per overtime. Clock down to 3:43 as St. Ambrose begins this possession. Jones finds Mieske all alone. Nice cut from Jake Mieske and an easy layup for him. 81-77, St. Ambrose. Saints certainly had the momentum heading into overtime. Definitely a couple of minutes before that, before things slowed down a little bit. Place is silent right now, as they've not been able to get off a good shot yet during the overtime period. Thornton throws it off to Howard. 5 on the shot clock. Terrian Howard drives around Badalassi into the corner. Witt at the buzzer. The three-pointer misses. Offensive rebound, Badalassi. He's blocked and fouled. Great offensive rebound from Pietro Badalassi there. He just bodied up 2 Fighting Bees. Put the ball right back up to the rim and drew the contact. So he's at the free throw line. And again, last time St. Francis played an overtime game, this is where it was won. If I remember correctly, they went 17 of 18 in the overtime period from the line in that game. This time they're 0 of 1 as Badalassi misses on the first. Trying to make it a one-possession game. 75% free throw shooter. Garrett Jackson, Ryan Peter in for Hayden Witt and Jordan Thornton. One more shot for Badalassi. That was the 9th foul on St. Ambrose, by the way. So 2 free throws on all fouls the rest of the way for both teams. 81-78, Bees basketball. Mieske bounces it to Kerr. Mieske tries the 3 in the face of Ryan Peter. He knocks it down. What a big three-pointer there for Jake Mieske. Terrian Howard racing quickly the other way, kicks it out to Hughes. Badalassi, 1 extra pass, deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with the Saints. Antonio Hughes will set things in motion here. Terrian Howard to Jackson. Right back to Howard. Howard drives. Gets inside, dishes it off to Garrett Jackson. Jackson misses from right underneath. That one hurts. An easy 2 for Garrett Jackson. And he hit it off the back rim. So it's still a 6-point game, and the Saints desperately in need of a stop here. Jake Mieske fires it down low to Lee Hardrick. Kicked into the corner. Kerr for 3. It's good. And St. Ambrose starting to heat up from the outside again. Starting to slip away from the Fighting Saints. It's a 16-3 run for St. Ambrose. Going back to the final 2 minutes of regulation. Hughes trying to answer. misses the three. Badalassi working for the rebound. Puts it back up, misses, and a foul called. This is against St. Ambrose. Dylan Kazmarek called for the foul.
Dylan Kazmarek, his second, team's 10.
Double bonus here for Badalassi. So he gets 2 free throws this time. Made 1 of 2 a minute ago, and he makes this one. Second shot coming up, and it's good. Badalassi hits them both. St. Francis trying to hang in there, down by 7 with 90 seconds to play. And then Ryan Peter fouls Lee Hardrick. Quick foul there. St. Francis just trying to extend the game, but Hardrick is a 77% foul shooter. So with this much time left, I'm not sure he's the guy you want to put on the line. He does make the first. Thornton back in for Hughes. Hardrick's second free throw is good. Makes them both. Hardrick's got 7 points in the game. Here's Terrian Howard working down the floor for the Fighting Saints. Thornton at the elbow. Pietro Badalassi hands it off to Thornton towards the basket. He banks it in. And it is again a 7-point game. Full court press put on by the Saints, and St. Ambrose wants a timeout. Minute 10 to play in overtime. 89-82 our score. St. Ambrose led this one by 19 in the second half. They led by double digits for most of the second half. St. Francis went on a huge run. Came back to take a 4-point lead at 75-71. But Ian Morrison picked up his 5th foul at the 2-minute mark. With that as the score, 75-71. And from that point on, St. Ambrose has outscored St. Francis 18-7. So it's certainly been a big difference without Morrison in there. Didn't have huge numbers in today's game, but his presence has certainly been felt by the lack of it lately. Badalassi, Peter, Jackson, Thornton, and Howard on the floor. Jalen Jones, the inbounder. He's got Miski, Hardrick, Kazmarek, and Kerr on the floor with him. He bounces into John Kerr. Right back to Jalen Jones. The Saints defense backs off. Hardrick across the timeline to Jones. Jalen Jones is bumped by Jordan Thornton. So again, they'll send him to the line early. In this case, giving free throws to Jalen Jones, and he is not a very good free throw shooter, just 63%. Hasn't had all that many attempts. He makes the first here. Only 30 on the season coming into play today. He's now 20 for 31 on the year, including that one. Second foul shot falls. 91-82, under a minute to play. Terrian Howard quickly to the rim, lays it in. Kazmarek to Hardrick, and Hardrick is fouled by Badalassi. St. Ambrose got off to a very bad start shooting free throws today. They were just 2 of 6 at halftime, but they have picked it up ever since then, and free throw shooting for them has maybe been the difference in the game. Since halftime, which turned out not to actually be the halfway point of the game, they've gone 14 for 16, including 4 of 4 in overtime. The first one is good here. So the Saints are just trying to extend the game by playing the foul strategy here, but it's not doing them any good because St. Ambrose is making every free throw. They've made all 6 in overtime. 93-84. Howard, long three is blocked. Hayden Witt's able to tap the rebound out to Ryan Peter. Peter step back three, air ball. Offensive rebound, Badalassi, reverse layup, rolls through. And a timeout called by St. Francis with 36.7 on the clock. Saints are doing a nice job offensively here, but they're just not gaining any ground because, first of all, they haven't been able to force the turnovers. They're playing a full court press, looking for the quick steal. Haven't been able to come up with any of those quick steals, and once St. Ambrose has gotten the ball in, they've been fouled, and they're having no problem in the foul line. 6 of 6 in overtime, 18 of 24 in the game. And again, since halftime, they are 16 of 18. So they've been very good from the free throw stripe. 43-33 was the score at the half. St. Ambrose hit a buzzer-beating jumper from Greg Wagner to take a 10-point lead. St. Francis came storming back. They outscored St. Ambrose 44-34 in the second half. But overtime has belonged to the Fighting Bees. On the first possession of overtime, St. Francis had the ball first. Terrian Howard drove to the basket. Didn't have necessarily a clean look, but a makeable shot from close range. Wasn't able to bank it in. St. Ambrose took the ball. They scored on the other end, and they have not looked back. 5 ties, 5 lead changes in this game. But nothing in overtime. St. Ambrose has been ahead the entire way. Jalen Jones tries to get this ball in. Jones gets it to Miski. And Miski across half court to Hardrick, and now they'll look for the foul. And there it is. Peter fouls Hardrick. 4th foul on the senior Ryan Peter, playing in his final game. Hardrick has made all 4 of his free throws in the overtime period, and he'll get 2 more shots right here. He makes the first. It's a 3-possession game, whether he makes or misses this one. 31 seconds to play. Rims out, so finally a miss. We'll see if the Saints can take advantage. Terrian Howard inside to Hayden Witt, off his hands and out of bounds. 8-point game, 24 seconds to go. The defenders come back in, Hughes and Jackson. And the Saints once again will try to pull off the quick steal. Jalen Jones gets it in over Garrett Jackson, or actually under Garrett Jackson on the bounce pass. And they get it across half court. Looks like the Saints are going to back off and not foul here. They'll let this one end, and it'll be the conclusion to the 2017-18 season. St. Ambrose defeats St. Francis today. 5 more seconds till the final buzzer. Our score today, the visitors 94 and the hosts 86. It is officially in the books here. Season comes to a close for St. Francis. They finished 7-13 in conference, 10-19 overall, and a tough end of the year as they wrap things up with 3 straight home games, but all of them losses against Holy Cross, Olivet Nazarene, and now St. Ambrose. This was a fun one, though. Saints really fought hard in it. It looked for a while like they were going to pull it off. Down by 19 in the second half, they came back to take a 4-point lead. But Ian Morrison fouled out with 2 minutes to play, and from that point on, St. Ambrose outscored them by 12 points over the final 2 minutes of regulation and then the 5-minute overtime as well. So in many ways, a disappointing season for St. Francis as it comes to a close after being the #1 team in the country a couple of years ago for a long while, and then last year didn't quite live up to that success, as that's hard to accomplish 2 years in a row, but they had a winning record. They were in the conference race for a while. This year just not really able to get it going, as they struggled early in the year with cohesion and just didn't have enough time to figure it all out, it seemed, in the end. Our final totals from today's game: St. Ambrose shot 46% overall from the field, St. Francis 43%. Saints shot 39% on three-pointers, and that is really what kept them in the game. Their three-point shooting was great in the second half, something that has eluded them for most of the year. St. Ambrose, though, really good on three-pointers, 11 for 18, 61%. The Bees out-rebounded the Saints 43-39, 13 turnovers committed by St. Ambrose, 17 by St. Francis. Leading scorer today was John Kerr, who had 19 points and 12 rebounds. He led a quintet of Fighting Bees in double figures. St. Francis also had 5 players in double figures. Terrian Howard, 18 points. Jordan Thornton, 17. 15 for Ryan Peter on 5 made three-pointers. Ian Morrison scored 13 and led the way with 9 rebounds. Antonio Hughes had 10. Pietro Badalassi, 7 points, 8 rebounds off the bench in this game. And Hayden Witt, the senior, in his final game, 6 points, 7 rebounds. Witt, Peter, Morrison, along with Jalen Jones and Thomas Parada, played their final game with the Saints today on Senior Day and just couldn't quite finish out on a high note for him. St. Ambrose wins in overtime, 94-86. That's going to do it for today's contest. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next year. And remember, the St. Francis women's team is still at it. They will play their first round of the conference tournament on Tuesday. Opponent to be announced. That'll be a 7 o'clock game on Tuesday. And if you can't come out to the Sullivan Center to see it, we're right here online as well at GoFightingSaints.com and the St. Francis YouTube page. But that does it for the men's season as they finish 10-19 and 7-13 in conference. St. Ambrose finishes with a 500 record, 15-15, 9-11 in the CCAC. Thanks for tuning in. Time to say goodbye. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Good night, all.